morning, everybody. My sister-in-law made me a couple more beautiful t-shirts. So, a couple things I forgot to mention yesterday. One, I burned myself on the thumb with the hot glue gun, making the base for that stand yesterday. A boo-boo. And two, I mentioned that I knew where I could find an instruction sheet for that Lindberg Stagecoach, and I was wrong. That was for something else. That was for a big 1/12 scale wooden model stagecoach. So I scoured the internet for quite a while, and although I did find a few images here and there that are quasi-usable, I actually don't have the instructions for that stagecoach. So I'm going to ask anybody out there that has the instructions if you could take some scans or nice pictures of them and post them maybe on the Facebook page, or if you just have an old booklet laying around, I'd be thrilled if you'd want to mail it to me, but posting it would be just as fine. But that's a lot of kits, we just go, yeah, I can build this thing, but that thing's just too complicated. All those little itty bitty parts and stuff, not a clue where they go. Building and launch umbilical tower, dealing with that paper puzzle. If you're good at origami, you won't have too much trouble with that thing. But I'm struggling with it because it's just having to figure out, okay, fold it this way, this way, this way, and verbal instructions to a picture. And I'm like, well, if I'm having that much trouble with something where I do have the instructions. I mean, some parts of the stagecoach are obviously going to be pretty straightforward. I know the big wheel's going back, but a lot of it, you're like, So I don't want the horses to end up running backwards. I'll keep looking for a set of. I actually did contact round two. They have a lot of their instruction sheets online, and they of course have Lindberg now. They didn't have, and now I saw, according to Scalemates, I saw a repop of that stagecoach under the Lindberg name as recent as 2006. So I went to the round two website, and they have a place there to order missing parts or missing instructions, and the stagecoach was not on there, but I filled in the kit number and everything, and at least the 2006 kit number, but I filled all that in. I think it's 70351. I filled all that in and sent it in the comment section, sent them an email, so maybe they'll post that. I'll keep an eye out for it. But in the meantime, because I'd like to get that done within the next month, so in the meantime, I'll start working on things like the horses and the figurines. That they're very straightforward, and I have to figure out what kind of horses I want to make them. I have to look at some pictures of stagecoach horses because they use certain breeds. I don't want to make an Appaloosa or a Palomino, and then found out that they never used Appaloosa or Palominos or whatever. And I did find out a lot from the little bit of snippets of instructions I could find, and there's a couple of fellows who've done build videos on them. One guy is even flipping through the instructions. So I left him a comment and asked him, if he could scan them. And another guy that's currently building one. Up to this point, he's mostly working on the horses. I'm sure somebody out there in Kit Model Worlds, got the information. The new resource of the day, the valuable thing, information. Reminds me, information. reminds me of, if you've ever seen the movie Tora Tora Tora, the late Neville Brand has a small role as I think a warrant officer named Kaminsky, and he's trying to convince his superior after the USS Ward was shooting at a Japanese midget sub. He's trying to convince his captain that this is pretty serious. We need to take it more seriously. And the captain wants confirmation. When the captain comes in the office, of course, the attack is underway. Kaminsky's like, "You want a confirmation, sir? There's your confirmation." So, Neville Brand usually played a lot. He was famous for playing. He was Reese on one of the famous westerns. What was it? Was it Laredo? Oh, I forget which one. I think they were playing Texas Rangers, but I always liked him. I thought he was a good actor. Neville Brand. And that's the one thing you don't see much. And you think about movies like Tora Tora Tora, they were often very star-studded. I mean, here's a movie that had Jason Robards, Toshiro Mifune, who was probably the biggest actor in Japan back then, Martin Balsam, E.G. Marshall, and there's some of the people became stars later on, but some of them these were already big stars at the time. And I don't know if you guys remember when a movie would be advertised as star-studded. This is a star-studded cast. The Towering Inferno is a great example. In fact, from what I saw, I think on a documentary, Paul Newman and Steve McQueen were both A-list actors. And when they made the Towering Inferno, they had a fairly serious issue with how they were going to do the credits, because that's a big part of how you get your royalties and everything else. And both of them were like, "Nope, I'm an A-list star. I get the top billing." And I don't think this was a small thing. And then somebody came up with an elegant, simple solution. Since in the West we read left to right, top down, the eye normally goes to the top left corner. But as to whether someone reads to the right or looks down, higher versus to the right or the left, is more neutral. So they left the top left corner, where we naturally read, blank. They put one of the names on the upper right and one of them on the lower left. So the one on the left came first, but the one on the right was above. And it was considered fair and balanced. And that's, if you ever watch Towering Inferno, the opening credits, so they appear, I forget which one's which, but one's in the top right, one's in the bottom left. So, I got top billing, but I got first billing. They could both claim to be the head honcho. And not that, I understand this was their livelihood. This is how they made their living, and being top billed in Hollywood when you're an A-list actor, that's a huge deal. Nobody wants to be the second banana, but there are people that have left films, big stars and stuff, that have left projects because they couldn't get the billing the way they wanted it. Well, remember, I don't know if you remember, I told you yesterday it was really windy. I just noticed the Tarbis has a big branch laying on top. Well, not big, but it's a pretty good sized branch laying on top of it, so I need to go sweep that off. And the cat could not be more relaxed. That's about all I got for this morning. That really is I don't mean to sound like a whiner, but that really is kind of a nasty little boo-boo. It took some skin off. I bumped it with a hot glue gun with the nozzle when I think it's really hot. Oh, trust me, putting that thing together yesterday at the base of that stand, there was some blue language. Blue words, they came out of my mouth without that lovely accent of the South. I'm sorry, I promised you guys that I wouldn't sing anymore. Well, I'll let you look at the beautiful shirt. It's the new logo my wife made for me. And it says coffee, and it's got the little coffee cup on it with the little heat coming off of it. All right, guys. I'll let you get to your day. But before I go, I got to show you the cat.